Hi, I'm Brian with Pioneer Builders. This channel is devoted to all things design and construction, but today we're adding a couple of components to that. We're also adding operations and maintenance. Because you can design something well, you can build it well, but you really have to make sure that all of the mechanical systems in the house operates properly, and part of that for the longevity of the structure also involves maintenance. So at Pioneer Builders, for quite a few years now, we've been installing mini splits. Today what we're going to talk about is an indoor head unit, how to maintain it properly. First, let's go over some basics of HVAC, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. Here's just some basics for HVAC. In a situation where the house is being heated or cooled via an air source, so for example, a furnace, heat pump, things like that, you pretty much always have a supply and a return. And then somewhere along the line, you also have a filter. Sometimes the filter is to help the occupant to have cleaner air. Sometimes it's just to make sure that that piece of equipment ends up working properly. So you might be used to a conventional system where you have supply registers in the floor. Maybe there's a central return somewhere else in the building. In the case of a mini split, the supply and return are all located at the head itself. Now, something else when you're using the air to condition a structure is you have a fan that goes along with it to blow that air. So as that fan runs, it's pushing the air out, but on the back side, it's pulling air. That's the supply and the return. You might think of it simply like with a blow dryer. In a sense, that's like a mini split head. You've got a fan inside, you've got hot air that comes out the front, and on the back side is the return side. If you didn't have that open, you would end up creating suction and you wouldn't be able to blow anymore. In this case, we've got supply that comes at the top of the unit, so air comes into the unit. It passes over some filters, and you'll see that later in the video, and then it comes out through here. That's the supply. It is an incredibly efficient unit. You don't have static pressure drop the same way that you would with a ducted system. But if you don't maintain it, over time, in this particular unit, there's 2 filters. Over time, those filters will collect lint, and it'll get thicker and thicker, and it won't have a very easy path for air to flow. So we're going to go over in this video how to clean the filters, the return side, where that should be cleaned. We'll show you a little thermal image to show you what it looks like with the heat coming out. And if you take care of this, you'll have a more efficient system and you'll be more comfortable. I hope you enjoy. And to give you an idea of the heat actually coming out, I'm using an infrared camera here. And you can see where it's really hot right at the bottom there. So that's where the heat comes out. The return side is at the top and the supply side is at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lift the hatch up after I turn it off, and I'll show you some of the different components inside. So down here, that's where the air comes out. That's the supply side. At the top here is the return side. When you lift the hatch, these are the filters. So this is the part that will end up getting dusty, and that's what you end up pulling out. And this is what it looks like up close with the filters removed. And then when you look at the top side, this is an area that needs to be vacuumed or wiped down periodically. Really, the part that gets the most dirty is from inside here where those filters were. The first thing that you notice I do is turn off the mini split head. Then I open up the cover and remove both of the filters. Now, I generally vacuum the filters, but you can also use some natural detergent, some water, and then let it air dry in a shaded location. Now I just reverse the process. Put the filters in, close the hatch, and turn the unit back on. And that was it. Pretty simple. But as we already talked about, the maintenance side is so important to focus on. So again, with a unit like this, you turn it off, pop the hatch, pull out the filters, clean them, pay attention to the return side, and just put it all back the way you found it. Now, how often should you do this? It really depends on occupant behavior. There's no one size fits all. So if you have a lot of pets, you're probably going to want to do that more often. If you're living by yourself and you're not home very much, it's probably not going to get as dirty. So to begin with, when you first move into a place, I would suggest every 2 months, checking it, cleaning it, and then eventually you'll know whether or not you can extend it or do it more frequently. So again, I'm Brian with Pioneer Builders, and this channel is now devoted to all things design and construction, but also we're adding today operations and maintenance. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day.